Welcome to the 2014 North American Challenger Series, brought to you in part by our friends at Coca-Cola. I'm David Freak Turley alongside Sam Kobe Hartman-Kensler, and it's been a great day of league so far. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm excited. Challenger, finally. Let's
Yes.
get this going.
Get it going on, guys. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. Coming up tonight on the North American Challenger Series, we have our first quarterfinal matchup, Cloud9 Tempest versus Skyline.
So tonight's series is a best-of-3 contest, with the victors advancing to the semifinals, where they're going to face off against the winners of tomorrow night's match between YSO Esports and the Chinese hype train, LMQ, that everybody wants to watch.
Whole bunch of fun games coming up. And because seeing is believing, let's take a look at the North American Challenger Series bracket. As we just discussed, the top half of the bracket consists of tonight's match, Cloud9 Tempest versus Skyline, and tomorrow's best-of-3, YSO Esports versus LMQ.
And in the bottom half of the bracket, it's the second-seeded Determined Gaming facing off against Curse Academy next Saturday, February 1st, followed by Cognitive Gaming taking on VVV Gaming White on Sunday, February 2nd.
And while the winners of our 4 quarterfinals move on to the semis, the participants that leave won't leave empty-handed. The 4 teams that come up short still earn cash Challenger Series points and still get another chance making it into the LCS in the second Spring Challenger Series that kicks off in about a month's time.
So for all the Challenger details, head over to lolesports.com, pull down the menu under Leagues and Tournaments, and click on the North American Challenger Series.
And so now let's get to tonight's match, Game 1 of this best-of-3 between Cloud9 Tempest and Skyline. Now, for those of you still leveling up your Challenger League knowledge, Cloud9 Tempest is it's a new name. They were formerly the Walking Zed during the promo tournament just a few months ago. That was the team that took Coast to 5 games in that spring promo tournament.
Yeah, strong showing there. I expect a strong showing in the Challenger League as well. Because Cloud9 Tempest competed in the spring promotion tournament, they automatically earned this spot in the quarterfinals.
Yeah. Guys are pretty strong overall. So, of course, this series against Coast was pretty crazy. Their 3 losses. Cloud9 went 4-47-8. They only got 4 kills in the 3 games they lost. When they lose hard. But the 2 wins looked a little bit better. So, you know, a little bit inconsistent, but at least was able to pull out a couple of victories there.
Yeah, I mean, taking it to 5 games, nothing to sneeze at. And they also switched up some players, you know.
Yeah.
It was the bottom lane, definitely giving them some problems. So they brought in Altec, excuse me. He's a guy who is very young, so he's a lot like Pobelter in that way. Those guys are actually really good friends, and he's bounced around Challenger a lot. He's replacing Bobby Hank Hill as the AD carry, and he's also a former member of Curse Academy. So we expect big things from Altec in the bottom lane. Joining him in the bottom lane will be Glebe Glarbu. You know, he played for Napkins in Disguise for a little bit, and he's a very strong Thresh player, I'm told.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun duo lane overall. And, of course, tonight, Tempest and their new bot lane take to the Rift to face Skyline. This team has already pulled off 2 big upsets on their wins in their way to the quarterfinal here.
Yeah, so the first team that Skyline knocked out was Low Pro, which is Jackie's team, the former Curse mid-laner.
Mid-laner.
Well, they're out of the tournament now, so
pretty lame.
Then they did end up beating the 5th-seeded TNT Gaming, or Tint Gaming, in their second game last week, going 17-5-59. That's a pretty good score.
Yeah.
Then the 2 former Velocity members, NK Inc. and Evaniscus, stepped up really big in that win. The jungler, NK Inc., who participated in all 17 kills, and their support, Evaniscus, wrapped up 15 assists.
Yeah, so good play from these guys. But even with 2 former pros on the team, the guy who stood tall for Skyline in their Challenger Series game so far is actually their mid laner, a new guy, Golden Glue.
As you would say, Freak, he was the glue that held their team together. He's another guy who's bounced around Challenger a lot. So he's a very high mechanical skill mid laner, and we'll have to see, you know, how he can go up against. What's his name?
Bishu,
because Bishu's famous.
Yes.
But he played Kha'Zix in both of his games, going 9-2-6 versus Jackie, and then his performance was even better the next game, 8-0-6 versus Tint Gaming.
Yeah, so a bunch of really strong players right here. It's going to be a fun one. Champs like about to get underway for us here. And it's interesting because you feel like Tempest is coming through as like the clear favorite, right? You got a lot more well-known names in there. Bishu, last I checked, had like the least number of losses in Challenger solo queue. And it's like that guy's got a big hype train on his own. So it's going to be a fun one to watch what happens in this. But at the same time, you still got to figure, right, the guys from Skyline right? Guys played in the LCS, has that experience, has that pressure experience. You know they're going to put on a good show too.
Yeah, speaking of NK on Skyline, he is a very versatile jungler. A guy I really like because he run Master Yi with teleport in the jungle for a long time. He'll be one of those guys who can just farm up really hard and then come out with a carry, or he can just gank constantly. He's very, very flexible champion pool as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. And really kind of speaking of flexible champion pools, the top laner for Skyline's been playing Rumble a whole bunch. And it's been fun to see because we just keep seeing these big three, right? It's like the Renekton, the Shyvana, the Mundo.
Warwick and the Trundle.
Sorry, yeah, so that's becoming 5 now with Warwick and Trundle showing up a little bit more. But then you've got a champion that I thought would have actually done really badly against the typical bruiser top lanes like Rumble, showing incredibly strongly right now, and it's fun to see the guys who pull out something completely different and say, no, this is what works for me.
Yeah, and since the team is actually now under the Cloud9 tag there, the people that they're playing against, it'd be funny to see Rumble used against Cloud9 for once instead of Cloud9 using Rumble. Oh, another thing, though, since they're switched their name to Cloud9, Yuzuki, the top laner that he'll be playing against.
He's back on Cloud9!
He's back on Cloud9 because he originally started on the original Cloud9 team that did not make it into the LCS.
Yeah, failed their spring promos for Season 3, but of course the revamped roster for C9, we've seen them do a very good job here. And
it's a pretty good organization.
Yeah, they've picked up...
Pretty successful.
I gotta say, their LCS team is incredibly strong. They picked up a top EU Challenger team, a top NA Challenger team, kind of diversifying the pool out there. And I always like organizations that pick up multiple teams. In Korea, that's really common, right? You've got Frost and Blaze, you've got Bullets and Arrows, you got Sword and Shield, right? There's so many sister organizations there.
And they've all worked out.
Yeah.
So diversify your teams.
Get some extra teams out there. And the thing is, you think about it, right? And even within this, you've got Altec, actually, who is a sub for TSM right now. He's on the roster. Couldn't play on the LCS because he's 16, but at the same time, you've got, again, more teams like TSM who have a bunch of players that they can practice against or scrim against if they have teams that they know well. And again, just more ways to practice and whatnot, I think, is incredibly useful for these guys.
And since, like I said, Altec, he's been in the scene for so long, but since he was so young, he couldn't really be on one of those teams, and he didn't get that famous. But he knows all of the top-tier guys, so it's very easy for him to call up, Propelter or whatever. They can practice against LCS teams. EG, they would be happy to scrim against them, so...
Yeah, that's pretty awesome for these guys. And, of course, you kind of think about the age, right? And he's a year away. Right, Pobelter finally old enough to be on the LCS.
So close.
We talked about him for all of 2012 and 2013, and now he's there. Altec, if he makes this right, he's old enough to play for season 2015. I don't actually know his birthday, but maybe even the summer split, depending on the timing there. So these guys are ready to go, rearing up for their pro careers.
Speaking of ready to go,
right? So are we.
Perfect. We'll jump into Champion Select here. Kale. Off the bat, I was already talking about him a little bit in the LCS games. So strong right now in this state of the game because of the hybrid nature of the champion and the fact that you can go deep into that offensive tree. Very, very highly prized mid lane pick at the moment.
Well, speaking of highly prized mid lane picks, 3 mid lane bans so far. Golden Glue's most played on live is Kale. His Kha'Zix, of course, played in the promo game so far. We're moving that away, getting rid of probably the highest impact players so far from Skyline. There's the Thresh removed from Glarbu. We'll see what he goes for afterwards. The Ziggs still gone from Bishu. I mean, his Nidalee still there so far. We'll see what else he runs for. So we got 4 of our bans.
He is pretty famous for his Nidalee, but Nidalee, we've seen some trouble with a lot of the teams that have been running Nidalee and not really getting to the point where they can siege up and make effective use of her poke. A lot of the all-in mid laners like the Assassins and stuff have sort of been outshining her.
Well, we'll see what they go with this one right there. Kassadin dropped away as well, so 4 total mid lane bans. Gonna stretch the pools a little bit of Golden Glue and Bishu. We'll see what they run for. The Elise dropped away, no first pick. Well, lower chance of first pick jungler, I suppose, for Tempest. And it's going to be, looks like the Gragas hover here. And I want to see if this is locked in, where it actually goes. I know Jat talked about support Gragas being a thing. I know NK Inc.'s been playing jungle Gragas. Of course, Bishu has a very good mid lane one.
Yeah, it's one of the safest first picks because you can put it so many places. So really like that as the opener. Meanwhile, this is a very strong combination here. Guaranteed engage in 2 forms. Very long range engage from Leona. And then Vi, the single target, is really strong for also ganking mid lane. So if they have a problem with Gragas, then he can pay some extra special attention to that area.
Oh, we saw that work really well for TSM, actually, where Odd One really helped Bjergsen, and Bjergsen kind of took over that game.
Hotshot got the extra special attention this time around.
Unfortunately, it was GG for Hotshot in that one. So those two champions picked up. Cloud9 Tempest picking up the Olaf again. And the funny thing is about this match is when Walking Zed played Coast, Olaf went undefeated in that series. And so C9 going to hope to push that forward. Top lane Renekton, also the blind pick here. These guys are kind of picking pretty quick so far in this series.
Hovering over the Sivir, that would be a nice takeaway because it works so well with Olaf, giving him just another guaranteed speed boost so that he can get to your back line. I do like the combo. And with the resurgence of Shen, there have been a lot of people talking about how Shen being picked after Renekton. So with the nerfs to Shyvana and the movement away from, trying to deal with Renekton in the early game, endgame answers for Renekton, like Trundle, like Shen. You have global pressure there.
Oh, it's going to be a fun one to watch for. Skyline looking still to pick these champions, and right now this comp is just going to zerg at you. It's a bunch of hard engage, and then Sivir's like, all right, everyone else, go! And I feel like people are going to die when that happens. You press R a bunch and someone drops.
I do also like the early bottom lane potential that you have with a Vi and a Shen.
Oh man,
like that's just brutal. The other bottom lane pretty much has to play defensively in that situation because even if they call their jungler over, they're going to be outnumbered.
Yeah, well, right there. Speaking of trying to get outnumbered, Annie at least can bring a bear into that fight. Maybe a little bit helpful, but a very long-ranged lane. I think literally the longest range lane you could possibly pick up in League of Legends. 650 Caitlyn, 625 Annie. At least they can play far enough back to maybe not get caught out here.
If you're going to stand back, that's going to be two champions that will make it very easy for you. Meanwhile, the rest of the two other picks there is obviously Dive Buddies. So this is really a very brawly team over here for Tempest. Looks like it's going to be a very strong dragon fighting team. So the early dragons expect to be a hot point of contention. Meanwhile, SKL over here on this side are going to have, like we said, the split pushing Shen. Nidalee in the mid lane, if you end up locking that in, it doesn't provide a lot of control early. She's basically just someone that's hard to push out of lane, but she can't do that much for you. She's just kind of waiting till later.
No, instead they're going to go, no, not so much, but they're going to look at an Akali right now. That's interesting because I was wondering how it would stretch Golden Glue's champion pool because his top four most played on live. Kayle, banned. Kha'Zix, banned. Gragas, stolen away his first pick. Yasuo banned for the tournament, so he's like, okay, well, let me just throw out the sleeper Akali that unless you know Golden Glue, I guess it's Jesse. They're maybe going to lane swap it here, but certainly not the comp I was expecting to see here.
Yeah, they got a few more seconds to pull the switching around, so they can still play mind games if they so choose. It's looking like a really nice combo, though. The double assassin combos, or double ninja combos, when you have Akali jumping in with the Shen shield to back her up. She has so much spell vamp and lifesteal that even if she takes the hit early, the Shen shield should enable her to live long enough to leech back up all the life that she needs.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Just so much hard engage here. I like teams like that.
Both of the teams are just...
They really want to fight each other. At least Gragas can knock people back, but the amount of engage just makes for like really fun explosive fights. I still like Curse's comp from last week, where it's like Jungle Pantheon, mid Akali, top lane card. This was like, people are going to die.
Hopefully it's the other guys.
Hopefully it's the other guys. Yeah, it was actually unfortunate. I didn't get the answer out on air, but I was talking to them about their comps, and Voy said, well, yeah, Death is the best CC, and as long as we kill them first, we're going to be okay. It worked out for these guys. We'll see if it works out here for Skyline, but some really fun teams out here for these guys.
All right, so no item spot from Sivir there. Having a problem connecting up. There we go. She's ready to roll. Doran's blade as usual, and 3 shields coming out. So Annie starting off with the ring. It's going to be a little bit more aggressive. Leona definitely does have the potential for the early all-in. We'll have to see which of those dual lanes can shove the first creep wave early and rush level 2.
See what they do with this one. Doran's shield, the start. So I actually like that Afro almost always goes for Relic Shield because then it guarantees that level 2 push a little bit sooner. But instead of the double Doran's opening, that doesn't really happen here. I do want to see how they end up playing this, though, but with their basic auto attacks. Usually in LCS, we tend to see the junglers start top lane, then get help from over there. These guys don't care nearly as much who hits level 2. So I'm curious to see how the teams adapt to this right now. The junglers are staying on that side. They're just kind of waiting. It's one of those holding pattern level ones.
I mean, if these duo lanes are left to their own devices down there, I expect the early advantage to be in this Caitlyn Annie lane, just because huge range advantage. Even Sivir is like a terrible range for an AD carry, so
oh yeah,
it's a very short range here for the Sivir and Leona, and really they just rely on actually popping a kill. So if they don't get an early level 2 and they get poked down and harassed early, then they'll be on the back foot for the better part of the game until they get jungle support.
Yeah, now that you mention it, Skyline picked their entire bottom lane before Cloud9 Tempest picked a single champion. So C9T had the entire, like, across the champ select to say, okay, this is the entire kind of we're going to go for. Completely melee support, has to get in the melee range to all in. Sivir, lowest basic attack range of any AD carry, and they picked this really long range harass team.
Yeah.
I feel like C9T should win that.
And as expected, they're starting out in the lane and immediately auto-attacking down the wave as quickly as possible. Caitlyn lanes always really like to build up those big range minion advantages, and just like that, a little bit of harass, they automatically have established themselves as the alpha bottom lane here.
And speaking of crazy things going on, actually, Glebe started actually with the Q on Annie. Such a rare thing to see, but is using it to actually deal more harass damage with his auto attacks. That's interesting to see.
Yeah, so the drawback is you don't get to charge your stun up before getting to lane, but the harass damage doing even more than the stun right here. Like we said, they've already established and shoved this SKL duo off of the wave.
Mm-hmm. Well, there we go. Level 2, 8 minions to 0 right there. Altec going to miss a total of 1 CS. We'll see what happens to the AD carries. Yeah, how dare you miss 2, or miss 1 total. 11 to 0. Now up to the turret. We'll see if Skyline misses much. Ward goes down on the river, so it looks like Cloud9 Tempest is going to be safe here as well. And their other trinket will be up in time by the time the one in the river expires.
Yeah, meanwhile, top, the old Renekton not having any trouble with Shen over here. 13 to 5, and he's also built up his Fury stack, so whenever he's got that full red bar, Shen really has to worry about the trades.
And thinking about trades as well, look at this mid lane, because Golden Glue is actually completely holding on, actually excelling against Bishu. More minions killed overall, more minions left to farm in the lane, and is pushing Bishu back. Looks like this Akali pick completely working out in the very early game.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a good job. He's got, you know, a potion left still, too, so he hasn't even had to use any of his sustain, which Akali usually, as Voyboy puts it, is sort of a tadpole early, and he has to wait and farm up until he hits level 6 before he can make a lot of moves. But man, is Golden Glue really just crushing.
18 to 10, very well played right here. We look still at the bottom lane to an early 10 minion lead. Altec and Glebe are looking over the dive on in. Glebe down to half HP, forced back with the shield, but here comes the jungler Kez. Jumps onto Evanescence, gets forced to jump backwards. Can he get away? Another axe lands. That's going to be first blood picked up by the Annie. Probably not ideal, but still 600 gold going to Cloud9 Tempest.
Yeah, nice little gank right there. Draws them in right when Olaf's in the area. Ghost is one of the common summoners for Olaf jungles, but since you don't see it a lot, you're not used to the lane ganks from Ghost. It's really, really strong.
NK Inc. finding a bit of damage into Bishu, the shield from his passive, tanking the turret shot as he walks out, but Bishu really being pushed around, down 8 minions still. Golden Glue still looking for the harass there. I do really like this lane, but of course we've seen the bottom lane right now carrying for Cloud9 Tempest. So it's just a good start, and this turret also starting to take some damage early on.
All right, so if you're looking at this game from Cloud9's point of view, all of your lanes are winning. These are all early shoving lanes, except for Bishu in the middle. So the jungler gets to choose. Where else am I going to apply my pressure? I can go down to bottom lane and counter gank, which worked out, or we can try and invade jungle from now on, because Olaf is really strong in the jungle early. And if Vi does not hit a Vault Breaker, then she's going to get bullied out.
So you think Olaf's probably going to win the duels if all things are equal?
Yes.
Okay, that's one thing to watch for. If we see it right now, NK Inc. still trying to catch up right there. Hasn't gone back to buy just yet, whereas Kez already with boots and a Spirit Stone going to help him just that little bit more as we go through this one. We've watched the bottom lane for a bit. These guys seem content to back up a little bit from each other and give Caitlyn the room she needs. The top lane is one that we haven't seen very much of, though. Yasuke off to a very small early lead. And, you know, you pick up Renekton for the early bullying, but not a ton happening yet here.
Yeah, Shen caught right back up there. He must have had a pretty good minion wave built up. And I guess it bodes well for conventional wisdom. A lot of people were saying Shen, the new sort of counter pick to Renekton. And Vi heading up top might even be able to get a kill on them. That would put him even ahead of Renekton.
Well, NK's going to look for it. Stun's not going to land on anyone right there. Yasuki forced to try to run away. He's going to get out of this one. But it does at least force, Slice and Dice on cooldown.
Yeah, he barely misses that Ball Breaker. Almost able to get in range. Whenever you do gank a Renekton from the river, you always want to come at him from the side. So his Slice and Dice isn't going to be aimed back towards his turret already and give him a little bit of extra distance. But a very good job of Yuzuki right there, keeping his cool, avoiding the damage from Vault Breaker, and then getting the double Slice and Dice.
All right, good job to him, but speaking of good jobs, it's really got to be Golden Glue still for me, the saving grace here for Skyline. Because he's up 50. He's like, I could have sworn Bishu was like, oh yeah, he's going to crush this lane. It's Bishu, he's great, but really great to Golden Glue. There's the early Dragon attempt though by Cloud9 Tempest. They've got a bunch of people here first, but it looks like Skyline might try to defend this one. You're seeing C9T forced backwards. The catch a little bit there for Evanescence, but gets fired back on down to half health. And Skyline going to sweep away a ward, but they do stop the Dragon.
Yeah, able to stop the Dragon, and if their jungler, if NK had been on his way down towards the Dragon, then they could have even finished it off because it was nice and soft right there, but without a smite, way too risky, and they just return to their lanes. This is something that happens when you do have a mid lane that gets that much control, and now the Tadpole has got her jumps, she's evolved into the frog, and she's ready to go for kills.
Evolved into the frog, here we go. Golden Glue growing up in this game. Still, both these mid laners have gone back to buy Chalice versus Hextech Gunblade. Revolver, here we go. So more spell vamp. NK still looking mid. Goes for the ulti onto Bishu. Does she have the damage here from Vi? Kez coming around. Great ulti. NK, good flash across the wall, but still getting chased down by Bishu. Forces his Shen ulti. Golden Glue now on the run as well. Axe not going to do much. Shield would have timed that anyway, but a lot burned everywhere for these guys.
NK is paying a pretty good amount of attention towards that mid lane, so that's probably contributing to Bishu's little bit more defensive play. But they were able to counter gank this time around. Kez in the right spot, right time. They also got his flash down.
And Jesse, I want to point out, actually managed to... I don't play Shen myself, so I don't know how it's done, but I know a lot of top players can do this. Cancels his own Stand United, doesn't show up. Was nowhere near Renekton, definitely was not getting stunned out of it. Knew how to cancel his own teleport.
So, I think it's kind of a bug, but... Oh, the stun combo is enough.
Not good for impactful. Spell Shield wore out before he could actually step on the trap. Flash in from Glarbu. Great barrier. Can he wait it out? No, he can't stun on top of the turret. That was a close one right there. A blunder, but then he kind of caught up for it.
So the Shen thing... Oh, wow, never mind. We got a pretty strong Akali headed down here to try and clean up.
Level 7, looking for Glarber here. No flash on Annie. Does have her stun back available. Flash in from Evanescence, stuns up Altec. There's the dive on in, but Golden Glue gets stunned under the turret right there. Evanescence takes another turret shot to let Golden Glue out, but that dive does not work.
Yeah, you can see as soon as Annie popped her shield and you could see the stun proc come up, Golden Glue did not want to dive for that, but Evanescence already going forward, and they take a lot of turret harassment, so it's going to be another shoved lane here.
Yeah, they do get rid of both of Altec's summoners, but they carried the Ignite and some time out of that mid lane here. Golden Glue still looking for bottom lane. That's not going to get pushed in, though, so nothing happening here aside from wave clear. Skyline going to hold on still a little bit longer. A 1,000 gold game in front of us just from one champion kill. So the laning on aggregate working better for Cloud9 Tempest. That gold lead is stretching.
Yeah, so they had 2 lanes that won compared to just the mid that's behind here for Bishu. So they definitely get a nice chunk of gold minion lead from the CS. And now the turret damage is actually going to be a pretty big factor.
Seeing it down to half HP right there. BF Sword and Altec, a very happy thing thanks to the first blood assist gold. Worth 100 for him, shared it with a teammate. Golden Glue actually stuck down in the bottom lane for 3 waves now, 2 or 3. Also walks by a ward on his way back to mid. So a bit of a minion lead lost there as Akali was just camping to keep his lane alive.
Yeah, he's roaming around to try and save the other lanes here. Because both the top and bottom were losing, he knew that the gold deficit was going to slowly increase for his team. And he was trying to make a play happen, pick up some kind of kill down there to turn around the bottom lane. But because he was unsuccessful, it just really helped Bishu get back into the game.
Speaking of Bishu getting into the game, goes for the top lane here. Shen stunned up against the wall. Here we go. Bishu gonna land the body slam, lands the ulti as well. Taunt comes across, so there's the ultimate, the ignite as well. Jesse trying to stay alive. Yasuki forced backwards, but that's a body slam kill. Bishu, 330 gold because of the minion nearby. Nice pickup by C9T.
And all that's left for Golden Glue is another attempted roam down bottom here. You know, he was able to shove one wave while Bishu left, but that's about it. With this time, NK rotating down towards Dragon, it looks like it'll be uncontested.
This could be very well worth it. Kez is nearby, but not with Flash. I don't think we'll get here in time. That's going to be the Dragon picked up. Red team has slain it. Ancient Golem already done here for NK Inc. despite not having much to do in this game. But that's going to be something nice. Only 600 gold now separating the teams.
Yeah, good call there for SKL. Deciding to rotate down since they saw two members, both solo laners up top. Even though there's a possibility of a smite contest, it's Olaf who does not have Flash or any jumps. So he would have to walk around and put himself in danger if he wanted to attempt something there.
Didn't want to go for it. Level 7 would have Ragnarok, but still nothing doing for him. Golden Glue sweeping away the mid lane. 20 CS up as Bishu comes back in. He's not wearing a blue buff. Wait, no, this is the wrong time. Blue buff wouldn't be up just yet. I got really confused for a second.
Yeah, it timed out. He used it to roam up quicker up top, though.
Yeah.
So he got some use out of it.
Okay, Blue's coming up in about a minute and a half or so, I think, for the Cloud9 Tempest team. We look down to the bottom lane again, and let's see where these guys go with this one. And then still sweeping. These guys actually in a bit of a lull, but I'm waiting for the junglers to make plays. Vi ulti is back up.
Yeah, I would actually expect C9 to start actually finishing these turrets off since both the top and bottom are low. If they chain those two turret kills, then they can both focus mid and rotate over to save the losing lane. They keep getting checked here, though, because the roaming Akali is very dangerous.
Well, that's going to be turret going down right there. Golden Glue lurking around the sides. Bishu coming by. Did not walk through any wards that I saw, but Golden Glue got spotted. These guys going to be just going back with just the turret going down and no action.
Yeah, so C9 should probably just shove another wave to get that pushed all the way up into SKL's secondary turret, and then they can send their super long-range duo to the mid lane. If they show up mid, then the 3 men plus Gragas there is going to be more than enough to force Akali off of her turret and stop Golden Glue's farm that he's been able to accrue so far.
We'll see what these guys can do with this one then. If they can pressure these turrets down. Skyline kind of on the back foot. Haven't had any games work for them. It's just been the Dragon pressure that's kept them in this game so far. The lane's just pretty much great for Cloud9 Temps, but definitely a very close game so far. Couldn't call a winner for sure. These guys looking to try to build their advantages, but none have found any big ones yet.
Yeah, so since the Cloud9 duo actually slow pushed the bottom, it was SKL who rotated first because they were expecting Kate Annie to show up in the mid lane and they wanted to go defend it. But since they're the ones with all the short range heroes here, they weren't able to get anything done, and it's a little bit of sort of wasted time here for them as they stand and mill about in the mid.
That's a good point. There's really not any good turret sieging by the Skyline lineup, and they're fighting a Gragas not to mention, so that'll be fun as that plays out over the time. They certainly haven't found any catches yet. The NK ganks haven't worked either. Flash and Vault Breaker up though. Of course Q's up, but Assault and Battery also up. And still not seeing a lot from him. I'm a little bit surprised by that.
Yeah, so here comes in the rotation I was expecting. They should be able to get a lot of poke down while simultaneously taking the turret. Because that large minion wave that the duo lane from C9 created bottom was not dealt with, it means that they don't even have the assassin, their strong person on their team, Golden Glue, at the mid lane and able to deal with this because he's trying to clean up that bottom minion wave.
And so here we are with a 2-0 kill lead as well as a 2-0 turret lead right here. Only thing keeping Skyline in the game is their Akali and the Dragon. Cloud9 Temp is looking very happy to keep the siege on the mid lane, at least a little bit. Bishu certainly holding this lane strongly and not falling behind very much in minions anymore either. Finished Atheans only 17 minions away. And it's now interesting because Skyline have sent Golden Glue, the Akali, I guess not so much a split push in the bottom lane, but certainly sweeping up a lot of the farm here.
So Bishu, even though he was sort of behind that in lane, he can clear out the minion waves very well. The only problem he would run into is if he extended very far up that lane because Akali's got her completed Hextech Gunblade and she's got kill potential because of the slow added.
So be careful of Golden Glue. Bishu does want to stay in this lane for now though, sweeping away some of the minions. He's pretty safe so far. getting rid of these guys, not a big problem. So again, the game's slowing down, but Cloud9 certainly looking at sieging gameplay.
Well, yeah,
here.
it's going all according to plan for Cloud9 here, because if they keep the lanes as is, the same thing that happened to the bottom lane is going to happen to the mid lane here. It's a Caitlyn and an Annie super range versus the Sivir and Leona. They won't really be able to defend another turret, and another one will go down.
All right, well, Golden Glue not in the best spot. Get the shuttle ulti and is invisible. Does not get hit by the Dragon ulti. Here comes the team. Taunt not going to land on anyone. Bishu running away, trying to go down. He will drop. Kez now running with Ragnarok on, but doesn't get much for that. Mid lane turret did go down during this, but Skyline on a 5v4.
Beautiful little bait right there. Golden Glue attracts 2 members, and they're able to pull off the very sneaky Shen ultimate this time. Catching Bishu unawares, turns it into a kill and some turret pressure here, but you know, since they're melee,
Will they dive Kez
very
here,
dangerous.
though? Yep, Golden Glue goes in, lands a...
No Ragnarok left, but also no... oh no, the Gunblade's back up.
It came up mid-combo. Because the single target spells and auto attacks reducing the cooldown. He got it up during the dash, but didn't go in for Kez. Instead, they go for the turret pressure. Probably a smarter choice, and that is the first turret on the scoreboard here for Skyline. Bringing the score back only 1,300 with Dragon spawning in 20 seconds.
Dragon spawning in 20 seconds, plus this Renekton has been free farming up top there with that Hydra. So that's a very fast farming Renekton. He can shove the wave and then rotate all the way down. He doesn't even need teleport to go to this Dragon fight. The Cloud9 team can time it and just call everyone down there.
Well, everyone is heading down here. Look at this. All 5 members on this side of the map running over. Skyline trying as well, but they are a bit slower here. Will C9T start this in time? Everyone's on the way, but no, it's going to be started. Dragon might go down before Skyline can retaliate for this one. Down to half HP already.
Poor vision for them as well.
See what they can do. This is going to be a very dead Dragon. Golden Glue getting jumped on, not in his smoke cloud. Dragon goes down, but the fight has begun. Who's going to take the damage? Golden Glue knocked around in the back line, has to jump over the wall and does go down. Shen trades one back. One throw in this battle, impactful in a bad spot, trying to get away, flashing out of this one. No one's going to find any kills just yet, but everyone's in a really bad spot. Impactful also. Looks like more kills coming in for Cloud9 Tempest. 3-1 now in this battle. There's not a lot of place for Skyline to go. Now it's NK Inc. onto a Cupcake. That's going to be another kill picked up. 4-1 plus a Dragon for Cloud9 Tempest.
Yeah, so that's why the losing team should never be rushing into a Dragon, even if they know that it's up. They have bad vision in here. Golden Glue gets caught stunned outside of his shroud, so he's not invisible. And he goes down the same time as Bishu. That's a great trade for Cloud9 because Bishu can get off a combo that does a whole bunch of damage, whereas Akali needs sustained damage to have the same impact. And from that point on, Cloud9 just have the upper hand. It was a bit spread out of a battlefield there. As you could see, Altec was having to flash back towards his tanks just to get on the right side. But after those 2 mid laners exchanged, not only is Golden Glue, you know, most of the gold there for the team, but they need his sustained damage. So from that point on, it's all Cloud9.
Oh, very well played right here by these guys. Yazuki just with that farm lead definitely kind of soloed impactful in that fight. Saber had a really hard time with this one. Skyline though off the recall gets a bit of time to push down mid lane. Will they stay for this one? It's a bit dangerous. Bishu has ulti. Will he go for a knockback here? Pushing forward, slowed down.
Renekton's coming down from the top, so they're sort of cutting him off here.
Will they find much? They're going to walk into the Shen. Jezzy in a really bad spot. Jumps over the wall. Stunned by Annie. Slowed up. Stunned out by Renekton. Knocked back into the team. Jezzy got nowhere to go. He's going to go down. Kez picked up his 3rd kill in a row here. And that is pretty nice for Cloud9 Tempest.
Yeah, the extra mobility that they gained by taking those turrets down really early, definitely paying off for Cloud9. They just seems like they have been the ones with the game plan here. Early rotations after their turrets were taken down, and not much of an answer from SKL because they were behind so early, and their wave clear on that Sivir wasn't even up to par to be able to defend their mid turret.
And so the push is going to continue now on the bottom side right here. This tier 2 turret likely to fall down pretty quickly, but the engage is going to come in from Skyline. What will they go for? The jump on the back line. Altec taking a bunch of pain. One goes down. Can they go mental? Golden Glue fighting on a Bishu. There comes Shen as well, but the kills are coming back from Olaf. 2 for 1 so far. Double kill. 3 kills coming across. This is so good for Skyline. NK getting away from the fight. Now can they chase down Glebe, Glarbu, and Kez? There's the dash in. Golden Glue finds another one. One more dash up. Has a red buff. Looks for Kez. Goodbye. That's going to be an ace. Look at the engage there by Skyline.
Oh god, the Fed Akali. Let's take another look at this fight from the very beginning here. You talked about the engage. It was a good ball breaker and assault and battery by NK, and they do not hesitate. In the early game, we were talking about how, Leona plus Shen plus Vi is really good hard engage. Everyone jumps in there at the same time, and Akali kind of gets to hide in the health bars of her own team. So they aren't able to focus her down. If they don't take out that damage at the beginning of the fight like they did at Dragon, then he's just going to rip through them.
And look how sad Caitlyn was. Like, just took every ulti, like, literally every ultimate that could affect an enemy champion did on Caitlyn. Hasted people up, Shen came in, dashed over. Of course, a second turret did go down from that bottom lane there, so Skyline bringing the turret game very close, only one turret apart. The kills only one apart, 1,000 gold game. It's wide open again.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what's going to happen when you have the Zerg team versus the Tower Siege team. If the Zerg team gets off the great initiate like that, then it's going to go all their favor. But if they are unable to do that, then it's going to go completely the other story. And if things play passively, then the sieging team is slowly going to get more and more turrets that will give them the gold to deal with that. So we'll have to see if this Zerg squad here from SKL are going to be able to pull it out again.
Let's see if they can do it. Bishu wearing a blue buff. He's going to be happy with this one. Ink on his way back out of the base and is becoming very tanky. You look at the builds here, and it looks like an early Thornmail here for Shen, and the Randuin's, of course, already completed for NK Ink. So the front line getting pretty big. These divers, these sort of, I guess they're Ultralisks at this point on the Zerg team, gonna survive into the back line with the Zerglings deal damage from afar.
Yeah, like even Sivir,
Almost.
I guess, is barely a range champion. One of the shortest attack ranges for an AD carry. She counts
more like a Roach
maybe
then.
a Hydralisk. Maybe if she's rested.
Hydralisk or Roach, maybe. Golden Glue more like a Baneling, I guess, if we're going to go all out with this one. Let's see how these guys can do it. Here we go. Cloud9 Tempest looking to siege the mid lane, of course. A little bit early for Baron, so neither team going for that one. Lichbane, oh man, already done for Golden Glue, so that's fun. Hextech Gunblade into Lichbane. That's pretty single target focused. Golden Glue's gonna have a really fun time destroying guys in the back line.
So this Cloud9 team, in the next team fight, they're gonna have to have a good shot caller for the actual team fight because Glebe Garbu needs to land a stun on Akali, and they need to drop a pink ward for vision. Or, upgrade some of those lenses so that they can just pop the Oracle's lens. But they need something to focus the Akali there. So if it's going to be Glebe, then it should definitely be him upgrading that Oracle's pretty soon.
Yeah, I think he does have it, actually. I think that is an upgrade little tinge right there. I know the icon doesn't change very much. It's kind of like Boot Chance. Yeah, it's a little red circle, though. I'm like 99% sure he's got that one. But but here's the fun thing. It's got a minute cooldown. If he sweeps wards, there's like a minute cooldown where it's like, oh, they can't find Golden Glue. Let's go.
Well, somebody's got a pink ward there, too.
Okay,
so
sure.
He's got two answers.
All right. Here we go. Ward coverage starting around. Hey, there's the pink ward. Looks like Dragon pretty well under control. Cloud9 Tempest looking for this one. Shen ulti is available here.
And with that pink ward down, it's already prepped for this fight around Dragon. So Cloud9 are ready.
There's the dive on it. Altec getting jumped on. Does get away from this one, though. And Impact will force her to run away from Yasuki in the back line. But it's Golden Glue finding Bishu. Impactful still on the run and cutting successfully. NK coming back to help him out. Another kill traded there. Shen alive. Finds the taunt. Yasuki not in a good spot right here. Impactful staying alive as well. 2 for 1. Make that almost 3 for 1. But the flash gets Yasuki out of the fight. Golden Glue did, in fact, die for his kill. But a 2 for 1 still.
Well, you could see the good focus from Cloud9. They were chasing around Golden Glue trying to get him down. But since their AD carry was spread out and Bishu was spread out, he had multiple people to jump through that not only he was trying to kill, but also gave him distance from the rest of the team.
Very well played fight right here. Good stuff. 9-9 now in kills. This game is just dead even. 38.3 thousand apiece. This is the closest you can get in gold when it's equal. And Skyline have really impressed right here, turning this game around from what was a pretty fair deficit. Yasuki can't keep his turret alive. That makes it 4-4 right there. And now Skyline for the first gold lead they've had, I think, all game.
I think, it's very dangerous because Glebe Garbu definitely was focused on Golden Glue that time. He got his stun off, and they had the pink ward prepped, but they need the damage to finish him off because they only got him to half, and you can see how much spell vamp he was getting back there. They almost didn't even take him down. There's just so many other things to worry about because the Shen and Vi, you can't ignore them, and Leon is coming in, stun locking your damage as well. The Zerg team definitely doing what it was designed to quite well there. Everyone just jumps in onto the back line and takes down Caitlyn.
We'll see if they hide in a brush. We'll call that burrowing later on. But Skyline, yeah. Oh, Jesse getting knocked around. Likely to go down. Taunts away, but is going to drop right here. Good kill picked up. Looks like C9T is the one who cloaked around and found that one in the brush. And they're going to keep the movement going. What are they going to look for? Mid lane, it looks like the Siege. Akali left a split push in the bottom.
Yeah, she's actually going to recall here. Even with one member down, they can actually hold waves pretty well. Even though they can't siege up waves, they do have Sivir. So her wave clears fine now because she's gotten that fully stacked Bloodthirster.
I'm surprised she didn't go Static Shiv, though, to even help that wave clear even more. Did go Phantom Dancer here, but surprising choice to me, but we'll see how it pans out. Golden Glue is bottom side, level 15. Actually the highest in the game, tied with Renekton. So very powerful Akali here. Looks like top lane is the Siege for Cloud9 Tempest. They have minions there in about 3 seconds, and that turret can likely fall quickly. Akali has shown up, but even with a 5v4, Cloud9 don't want this fight yet.
So Akali recalling in the bottom lane tips them off. They don't want to get a full engage once again, so they're just gonna bide their time here. It's definitely something that's got to be worrying them because they haven't been able to keep track of that Akali with all of the other tanks coming in with so much CC.
I really like Skyline's composition, though.
Yeah?
Like, when I saw the Sivir, I was like, well, I mean, you don't really need Shen and Vi to run that fast because they can deliver themselves anyway. But it's really just the fact that Akali can show up too so easily and they can follow through. It's a very impressive comp. I guarantee you it's one that they have prepped specifically. They know, like, yeah, we'll get these 5, and none of them are, like, huge priority picks, aside from, like, the Vi and Leona kind of. So you can put this team together pretty easily in a champ select.
I mean, it's definitely a full steam ahead, one direction we're going with this comp, but it definitely works if you're able to catch the other team. And Cloud9 don't really have a great split pusher, so they don't really have the option of trying to wait out SKL. Really what they need to do is get some good ward coverage and try and catch someone like they caught Shen before earlier.
We'll see if these guys can do it. Looks like Cloud9 Tempest, though, forced to play much more defensively. They're relinquishing map control, it seems, to Skyline, saying, wait, they're around the engage range is like 2,000 from these guys. Like Sivir ulti, Flash, Vault Breaker ulti, like someone's going to get caught if that happens. So C9T playing very defensively, putting wards down as they leave, but their way into this game, I haven't seen it in a while. It just seems like it's C9T slipping back more and more.
Yeah, as soon as we saw that first display of the coordinated all-in engage from this team, it's really been a completely different story. Early game, definitely going to Cloud9, but something that SKL seemed like they were willing to give up with this comp.
Interesting stuff right here. So, game definitely slowed down. C9T not giving Skyline the ability to dive in here. And Skyline, they can't siege. They're not going to dive under turrets with arguably a fairly squishy lineup here. So I say squishy with like 3 tanks in the group, but still, it feels like they're really hesitant to dive, and so they're playing it kind of safely as well, looking for more open field fights.
Take a look at that Shen and his armor stacking.
Yeah,
and we'll see how long they have to wait before he's the point man on the turret dives, because he's getting close to the point where he can shrug those off and start the dive action. Yeah. They'd much rather, though, catch him out in the jungle somewhere like that here. So
almost have a chance here, actually. Don't quite go for it. Mid lane turret kind of nearby. I'm like, whenever they're like in the same screen, I'm like, this might be the engage.
Yes, because it very well could be.
Uh-oh, Golden Glue. Ooh, he jumps away, but this is going to be rough. Blocked there by NK Inc.
Cloud9 need to take this opportunity, though. They've got the main member of SKL down right now. Golden Glue is super low. He has to go back to base. So they're going to need to make something happen off of this.
And what a call by Skyline, by the way. No Shen ulti burned. Golden Glue knew he could get out, and it's like, no, it's fine. I don't need it.
Golden Glue's got home guards. There's no window for them to take anything back. You have to finish him off. You can't let him go with any amount of life.
Well, Cloud9T, 28 seconds till Dragon. Ward's getting swept on all sides. Looks like they're going to go for the fight. All right, Kez getting jumped on. Pops ulti. There's the dive in. They find Impactful. Leona lets him as well. A lot of damage coming across. Believe Glaber just gets exploded there. Yasuki in the front line, not that huge of a tank though. Kez getting jumped on. No more Ragnarok. He's going to go down as well. Gragas not making the disengage happen. Actually, ulti was down, so another 2 for 0. Dragon's up in 5 seconds.
Even when Altec is able to get away from Vi after the ulti, he still has to be so scared of the rest of the engage from the rest of the team that he can't put out any damage. So, because he's running for his life the whole time, Caitlyn has to be able to auto-attack from the back lines. He's not able to do that because he's always running, so even if they don't kill him, he's not putting out any damage.
You know, I gotta say, that Golden Glue catch a little while ago, all planned by Skyline.
Yeah.
Dragons and Anti-ults both down.
Exactly.
And that was just,
It was Wraith Camp is what it was. Without
Yeah.
that Wraith Camp, he was a dead man.
absolutely the case. So I'm glad that there was a ward in the brush allowed him to jump to the Wraiths too. Like, so many things went right there for Skyline, but good stuff for these guys. Now a 2,000 gold lead, the first substantial gold lead they've had for more than 12 seconds so far in this game. It's definitely looking better for these guys, looking for fights and finding them. And if I'm Cloud9 Tempest, I stopped trying to fight dragons because they've backfired a lot recently now.
Yeah, you got to think, like, what is their next go-to plan? Because they have not had a lot of luck sieging up the turrets either. If they go anywhere, really, within, what you just said, like 1,200 range of SKL, then they're going to get engaged upon.
And the money's kind of pouring in now for Skyline. Like, the really rough duo lane there that held Impactful down, he's up to 1-1 and 9, a bunch of assist gold, 3 completed items, equal CS to Caitlyn. The damage threats are... I mean, look at this. He's even got more gold for an incredibly lost lane. The Sivir.
Yeah, he's fine now. It's a lot to do with how scared this Cloud9 team has had to be after that first engage. They haven't been able to freely farm even waves that are open. If they're too far out, then they just have to let them die to other minions.
Well, here we go. Baron Nashor, ward control. Both these guys actually can see it, so no control at all, just vision. Zhonya's nearly done for Golden Glue. That's going to help him in fights.
Man, like, if you're in Altec's shoes, you can't even shoot this Shen. Because not only does he have a Blade Mail, but he's also got Randuin. So if you shoot him, you're going to be killing yourself, and you're going to make yourself slow, so you can't get away from anyone.
Oh, yeah, you're just kind of sad if you're an auto attacker at this point. And he's got nothing else to really hit. MK Ink's got a Randuin's too. And here's the engage.
They saw him!
Goodbye. Goodbye, Altec. Goodbye. Didn't even need the Leona ulti. Like, that was completely on a corpse right there, but scorched him. And now I feel like this is a good chance for Baron.
Like, look, he's on the screen. Kill him.
Yep.
And success. So that's a lot of ultimates down, though, since they use Sivir as well as Leona as well as Vi. That's a lot of their utility down, but all the damage there for C9.
All right, how can they play around the Baron? Of course,
Gragas steal, question mark?
He's too far away. C9 gives them the respect and just gives away not gives away, but leaves the Baron to pick up by Skyline. 4,000 gold now, wearing a Baron buff, 5v5 on the map soon enough. And these guys are looking so awesome now. Impactful killing some Wraiths, I like it. But now, like, I feel like if I'm Sivir, I buy defensive items, because you're just there to make a Kali look good. Like, don't let Yasuki kill you. Make sure you get, like, a GA or something. No, BF sword. All right, he wants damage.
Yep, time for more kills. Need more damage. All I have to worry about, like Void Boy said, best CC is death.
They're going to bring it. So Giant Tank Shen now finally starting some magic resist. And one thing I was thinking about as Shen was building his build, right? Randuin's into Sunfire, Randuin's Thornmail. No CDR on that champion at all. Still finding ways to get into the fights pretty well with Shen ultis. Like, normally we saw like Visage getting rushed early, and it would like give him a lot more Shen ultis with the 20, now 10 CDR. Didn't even try to get it, and it didn't seem to hold him down any.
I mean, even when the Shen ulti is down, this SKL team can bluff. If they run at you, then this C9 has to scatter. So, I don't know. Really, the only counter engage they have is Bishu's got to throw his Gragas ultimate. As soon as Sivir speeds up the team, he's got to just throw that thing out there and try to knock them back to buy time for the rest of his team to regroup.
Yeah.
Thing is, they're going to be able to siege up around turrets now. And this is going to be the point where SKL have to dive a turret. So we'll have to see if Shen is split pushing, they don't have him to be the first person taking turret damage. And it's going to be on NK instead, who, he's got a good amount of armor, but it's not nearly what Shen's packing.
That's going to be interesting then. So Shen bottom lane has the ulti. Everyone on Cloud9 Tempest, aside from Glebe, have picked up Spectre's Cowls on their way to, I assume, Banshee's Veil.
Yeah, probably going to be too little too late, though. Even if Vi doesn't ulti Altec, he's going to have a really, really rough time. Like we said, dealing even just with the Shen.
Now Jezzy and Yazuki in a fight right here. Yazuki forced away. Mid lane now the target of the siege, and Skyline really just looking for rotations, trying to find ways in, happily tanking the turret, not even caring, sweeping with the minions to find something else to do. But C9T really good at defending here. This is going to be, I think this is hard to crack open for Skyline.
I mean, they're going to go for the turret dive.
They've got to.
They've got to. That's the options. When you build a beastly team fighting team like this, you don't really have any other options. So Shen tanking up some turrets hit there, doesn't even affect him. It looks like that will be a successful strategy. Because Cloud9, like, they can't really do anything but team fight this team, and that's not going to turn out well for them.
It's really not. I don't know how you deal with this at all. I feel
you either need a global so you can split push, which they don't, or they need a strong assassin who can split push, which they don't, or they have to pick somebody off and count on a mistake from SKL and good ward coverage.
So,
and they don't even really have good ward coverage. So, options limited, Freak.
Wait up, Baron. Try to burst people out with Anti-Gragas, and then hope you have the follow-up. That's my guess. Pretty much all they got. And
well,
here they go.
There's the re-engage. Vi's not with the team, but neither is Altec, so it's 4-on-4.
Ascension used in the re-engage coming. Jezzy not landing the taunt. Bishu jumping away from this one. Sivir ulti was used to help the team disengage. NK Inc. forced away. Altec getting some more farm. Maybe like 6 Adam Caitlyn can do something if they wait forever, but...
He's got a bit of magic with the Shiv and some armor penetration, but the power's not there. There's no Phantom Dancer, no Infinity Edge. So he's going to have to farm up a long time. Really, they just need a turtle under these turrets and take advantage of the tower dive when it comes.
Well, we'll see if they can find the fight they need when that turret dive does come in, because Skyline has still got plenty of gold still to earn. These guys mostly at about 3 items apiece, so they've all got 2 big item slots still to fill up with, and it seems like Dragons and Barons are going to be given to them without any contest, aside from like making sure that they're not being too greedy. So I feel like Skyline's gold is going to keep going up relative to their opponents, and are going to find more item windows. You talked about the tanky Shen just taking turret and not caring. I feel like that's going to keep happening here and get worse.
The last lone secondary turret that's standing outside of the inhibitor ring, I think, should be going down pretty soon there. SKL could return to that spot fairly easily.
So 3 Randuins now, by the way. Epheniscus has picked one up. Giant freaking front line now. 100% here for Skyline.
Plus, they just completed 2 Veils.
Yeah. So the engage in the front line also gone. Ascension, of course, picked up for both these guys, though. Mikhail's slightly helpful here for Cloud9 Tempest. Glebe Glavu has one, so he's finding some things to do. I would almost, like, really want Leandri's Annie here if I'm Cloud9 Tempest, just to try to get rid of some of this front line, who have been kind of greedy with armor for the most part.
At least softening them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe something. We'll see. Jezzy split pushing the bottom lane. I like Golden Glue. He's like waiting around seeing if someone will challenge Shen. Not finding it. He will find the red buff here, but this is a little bit risky. Skyline with a 3-2 split. If they guess wrong and get jumped on, like there's no ward coverage on the bottom right down here.
You know, this is what Cloud9 are waiting for. They could hop on this situation while Akali's in the forest there, if they knew that she was by herself. They don't know where she is, though, so it's still dangerous for them to make their move.
They don't seem to know this. Baron up in 1 minute. Skyline keeping all the
Oh,
minions.
they just pinged her out. Just pinged that recall. Maybe that was just coincidence.
Maybe. They said, hey, we don't have vision here. Don't run through this area.
Akali can be there.
There could be an Akali. Dude potential, at least Akali, which is more than enough to scare anybody away.
Akali is enough of a dude to scare away Freak.
Dude, I mean, DP5 is normally what it takes. DP Akali is just enough. Here we go.
Please specify that you mean dude potential when you say that, Freak.
Sorry.
Please.
I apologize. Yes.
Oh, God.
Hybrid penetration mastery, of course, is here for Golden Glue. Anyway, 25 seconds on Baron. They're leaving Jesse bottom lane. He's going to take the double golems while he waits, so
right.
Just still accruing gold.
So we're still going to be looking at the same situation. Shen split pushing bottom, rest of the team's going to be at Baron. If you're Cloud9, you could say, hey, there's no way we're going to beat them at Baron. Let's 5-man try and snag this Shen. See if we can get 1 kill for ourselves and tank out their main tank. Because we've already seen when a team rushes over to Dragon with no vision, it really turned out poorly for them.
Yeah.
Same thing's going to happen around Baron. And if they just get close, then Sivir will pop her ult and they'll catch him anyway.
So some decent ward coverage here, and looks like Shen going to be left.
It's gonna be a rumble.
Okay.
Rumble at the Baron pit.
Here we go. Cloud9 jumping their way in. Some wards as they go for. The dive is here. Here we go. Who's going to get jumped on? NK looking for the back line. Finds Bishu. Finds Altec as well. The dive has begun. Altec going to be safe. Bishu still getting chased down. Altec's going to fall to Jezzy while the Gragas drops as well. Making that one happen. 2-0. Evidence is still chasing down. 3-0. Yatsuki jumped out as well. Make that 4-0. Only Glebe Glarby left alive. Skyline sure to pick this one up.
So Golden Glue is able to simultaneously chase down Bishu and Altec while hiding the front line there. Because Bishu and Altec are running for the hills, they're creating distance for him to jump to. And man, SKL look like they are just going to end it off this win.
And the 7,000 armor front line is going to tank the double Nexus turrets. Not a big deal for NK Inc., Jezzy, and Evaniscus. First one about to go down. No minutes to make them dive fast, but they just don't seem to care. And he's got nowhere to go. And there we go, 20 seconds on recalls. Game 1, gonna go to Skyline here. This is a great result by these guys with an awesome team comp.
I'm a fan of this one.
Yeah.
I have to say, as far as team comps that are just like best team fight, you have to bring something else, because if you already are forced into a team fight composition of your own, like you don't have your split pushing answer, you don't have your mobility answer. Like, what are you going to do besides try and fight this team? They're just going to accrue a bigger and bigger gold lead.
They're just built to fight you, and it's not like Cloud9 had a bad set of champions. Like Renekton top, great. Olaf jungle, awesome. Bishu on Gragas, absolutely wonderful. Annie, Caitlyn won their lane hard. None of that mattered.
I think they needed a little bit more playmaking from the Gragas and Annie. Maybe splitting up the team, trying to get somebody stunned out there, and they just weren't able to find it.
Well, that's going to be all kinds of crazy. And just think about like the next pick and ban phase now, because I'm wondering if you pick the same team if you're Skyline, or if you're like, I think they'll figure it out next time around, and they got to go something different.
So there have been a lot of different answers to just team fight oriented compositions, and if you don't have the surprise factor, then probably won't work out as well.
Gotta find something different. Well, we'll see what the adaptation ends up being. Guys, we've got to take a quick break, but when we return, it's time for Game 2 between Skyline and Cloud9 Tempest. With one more win, Golden Glue and crew will pull off the upset and advance to the semifinals. The 2014 North American Challenger Series will be right back, so stick around.